All right. Well, good afternoon. It is December 17th, and my name is Donovan Neal, and I am going to attempt to show you how to change an image in your graphic novel. This could be applied for a comic book. On the screen before you is the cover of the graphic novel that I am currently working on. Virtually all the images have been produced via Midjourney, which is the AI graphics program that you can easily find online. Just Google Midjourney or Midjourney AI, and it will take you to the website. But all the images that are in my graphic novel, this is an alternative cover that I'm looking at. All these images have been produced. That's not an image that produces them. That's the actual cover of my short story that was done for my graphic artist. But everything else in here is an image that was produced in Midjourney. And so this is this is like the first draft of the comic, and I'm scrolling through here really quickly to give you an idea as to what this program could do. And I'm using two key programs. One is Comic Life 3 and also Midjourney. Midjourney is free on a trial basis. I believe the first 25 images that you generate are free. And then after that, you have to pay a subscription. And so you will not be able to generate a comic book or graphic novel, in my opinion, with the trial of Midjourney. So if this is your first time doing something like this, you can get that out of your head now. You will have to pay for a subscription. But you can also use Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion, I believe, is free. Midjourney is not. So, again, Google the differences between Stable Diffusion. I choose Midjourney. And I'll probably dabble at some point into Stable Diffusion. What I'm going to do today, what I'm going to attempt to do, is I've decided, now that I'm moving from the first draft of the graphic novel into now what I will call the second draft, that there are some images that I need to replace. There's some images that I'm not really happy with, and I want to go ahead and replace them. So these are the two images here that I'm going to attempt to replace. This image down here on the third. So, and my rationale for replacing them is that Midjourney is a phenomenal piece, is a phenomenal tool. I'm not going to get into the ethics of using AI, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion. That might come in a later video. But right now, I'm just going to show you what you can do with it. But again, these images were generated with an earlier version of Midjourney, and in terms of my knowledge as to how to use the software, it was generated at a time when I had less knowledge. So now that I've had more knowledge, a little bit more understanding how to use software, I want to see if I can get these images to be a little bit better than what I have right now. So one of the key things, one of the weaknesses of the Midjourney software right now, and I'm sure this will be addressed, is the ability to generate a consistent image. You will find that as you go into and create your comic book, you will come up with a character design, and you want that character to be consistent looking throughout the course of you want to put them in different scenes. You want to have them evoke different type of emotional states, things like that. Midjourney has a challenge right now in terms of generating that consistent character. Typically what happens is you'll get a variation of that character. I think depending on what you're trying to do, you can get away with that in some cases. In other cases you can't. I think it really depends. In my case, I have worked and decided that these two individuals here are the main characters. Hesphus and Inkai are the main characters. So here are them together. So Midjourney has a challenge taking these two consistent characters and putting them in the same frame. That's been my observation so far. Maybe there might be others who might know how to do that. I have not really gotten that to the point where I can take these two individual character portraits and put them in a simultaneous scene, and they keep the consistency in terms of their look. So for right now, I'm going to keep this here, but since I've decided that these were the two primary character portraits I was going to use, I used earlier character portraits, and so now I'm going back into the comic book, and I want to make sure this is Hesphus and it's an Enkai, and so now I'm going to go back and make these character portraits more similar to the actual character portraits I have up here. Okay, so I found out what I had done was, my main thing was just get the created character portrait, created an image, and then place the image as a placeholder in the graphic novel. That was my strategy because I was still learning how to use the system. So as I learned how to use it, I was able to generate consistent models over time, pretty consistent, that I was satisfied with. So now I've got some images here in the graphic novel that have not been consistent. So again, I'm going to go back and change them. So I'm going to show you my attempt. I'm going to try to do that live, how to do that. So right now I was thinking about going to go see Avatar. That's a 3-hour movie. I think I'd rather spend some time trying to get this done while my wife is gone. I got some quiet in the house. There's not rustling of activity, and so I think I'll use that time to take care of this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change this image here. This is Hesphus. He's looking at a book, and as you can see, this image is a far cry from this image here in terms of what he looks like. So we're going to go into Midjourney, and we're going to see if we can do something about this image. So let me get in there now. So let me go to my pins. So I'm in Discord right now. I'm in the Midjourney software. So Midjourney, you utilize the Midjourney software, you utilize the Midjourney program within Discord. So you need to have Discord in order to use Midjourney. So you got to sign up for a Discord account, and you sign up for a Midjourney account, and then you're able to utilize Midjourney within Discord. So this is the image that we're going to use. We're going to try to manipulate. So I'm going to jump to where I was working on the image within before, and then I'm going to make a variation of this. Okay, so I have found in advance of this video where that image is. So this is the image right here of Hesphus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the mouse. I'm going to copy the image address. Okay, and I'm going to make a variation using that image address. So basically what I'm going to ask Midjourney to do is take the image of Hesphus and have that be the primary thing that motivates what this action looks like, and i.e. Hesphus looking at a book. So in order to do that, this is my first attempt. I'm going to take this prompt. Okay, I'm going to make a variation of this prompt. This opens up this window, and this is basically, in order to get here, this is what I use. I'm highlighting here to get this image. Okay, this is what I put in to get this image. Okay, and this saying, see, all that means is like, hey, I used an earlier image, I used an earlier portrait, and I told Midjourney basically to draw out this scene, to create this scene using this earlier portrait. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a variation of this, and I'm hoping that the variation will come out to be closer to the actual newer image that I'm using of Hesphus. So go into the system here and tell it to make a variation. I've copied the address, the web address of Hesphus's image, and so I'm going to paste that now here, and as you can see, that comes in here. So I'm going to tell it to add that in here. Okay, and I'm going to do a couple things. I can actually get rid of all of this because it doesn't really need this now. Okay, and I'm going to do a couple things here. Let's see. I'm using, I'll explain what I'm doing here in a second here. Let me just get it done. So I'm using a third free tool called Prompter. All right. So let's put some other commands in here while I'm doing that. Chaos. I want the chaos to be 2. Okay. All right. So basically what I'm doing, this chaos is a parameter. It's a command that basically tells Midjourney how close to stick to the original picture. Okay. So I'm telling it not to deviate a lot. I forgot what the range is. I believe it goes from like, 0. If it's 0, you wouldn't put anything there. From like, I don't know what the highest range in here, but I know typically 2 is a pretty good place to keep things consistent. So I'm going to try that. Stylize basically tells Midjourney, hey, go for broke. How much you can do to make that image, look that way. Quality, I don't have to put that in here, so I'm actually going to delete this. This talks about aspect ratio. So in the same way you have a television 16:9, widescreen versus full screen, that's what this is telling it. So I'm telling it, hey, make the aspect ratio 3:2. Okay, so basically it's like a widescreen kind of aspect. Earlier versions of Midjourney was version 4. Okay, I'm telling it to use style 4B now. So there's been a later iteration in Midjourney since the last time I made this image. So I'm telling it to use that later iteration, because that should make it look better. So we'll see. It's an experiment. You're watching me live as I do it, so we'll see what happens. So we'll put this in here, and now we'll jump to the present and see what we can do. Okay. So now I've got this on fast mode at the moment. So this should take, I don't know, anywhere 30 seconds or so. If I had by fast mode, that's I'm assuming certain things. So when you have a subscription to Midjourney, basically what you can do is you can say, hey, how fast do I want you to generate the images? Okay. Okay, so actually this was done in relax mode. Okay, so I'm in relax mode right now. Relax mode typically takes 60 seconds or less. Fast mode can go faster. But to give you an idea of what that looks like. Okay, so basically I said, hey, if I use fast, I have like 9 hours out of 15. So I have a paid subscription, so I have 9 hours out of 15. So I'm not in a rush to get anything done today. So I'm going to save those fast time hours and go and use what's called relax mode. So that's the mode that I'm in right now. Okay, I'm in relaxed mode. And that's what it says, job mode here. Okay, so I'm in relaxed mode. And so if I was in fast mode, it will start using these hours that I have remaining. So it's only December 17th. I've got a long time ago before the month is over. So I'd rather not do that right now. Again, I'm not in any kind of rush where I need to press time-wise. So we took that image. Okay, so this is the link. This is what that image looked like. Okay, this is the this is the link on the web for that image. And then we added that image to the prompt. And then we told it to stay close to what it looked like before. Okay, we said, hey, go ahead, go for broke in terms of styling. Show us what you can do. Keep the aspect ratio a certain way. Use the new version or the latest version, which is style B of version 4. Okay. And so it came out with these 4 images. So let's click on it. Okay, it always gives you 4 to look at. And you can see that this looks a lot different from the original image. Okay, so we're going to make this larger. And the way that I did that, by the way, let me get out of this real quick, is by clicking on original. Okay, so now by clicking on original, I can get a better picture of what these 4 images look like. Okay, so I don't like this one. This looks a little bit too computer animated-ish. This looks more realistic, but not quite the look that I want. This is a better look. Hesphus is not as dark skinned as Inkai is. Inkai is a little darker skinned. So I like these, but I might just tell it, okay, do a little something a little different. Let's see. See, and I can't tell if this is like a weapon or a book. Okay, this is more of a book here. And Midjourney has a hard time with hands. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like this could be a 6 thumb under here. So what I do sometimes in my graphic novels, I'll put like a text bubble above that, or I will put some type of storytelling bubble above that, and so that helps the reader not to see the errors that are produced with Midjourney. So you can see again the issues with the hands. Okay, so Midjourney, it's getting better. It was worse when I first started. I started in version 3. Midjourney right now is at version 4. I would almost call it like 4.5. It'll be a version 5 shortly, and I know over time it'll be able to do this, but even humans have a problem drawing hands. So the fact that Midjourney is having an issue with it, that's really to be expected if you think about it, because hands are hard to draw in art. So we're going to get out of this. Okay, and I'm just going to ask it to do what's called a re-roll. Okay, basically what I'm telling it is like, hey, I like what you did here, but not quite. So let's try it again. And so I press that, and now it's going to go ahead and do those same kind of things again. So we'll go back down. Again, we're in relaxed mode. So it's going to take, maybe a minute or so to do this. And so, again, we're just trying to generate the image that we need to replace this image here. Okay, and again, I'm using Comic Life to do that. So I'm going to open up some of the panels, the layout panels again. And I had those closed earlier. So we're going to show the pages and the styles. All right, so let's go back to Midjourney. And it's putting things together. This is the second go round. It's at 71%. Again, it's been less than a minute. So now it's done. Okay. So I can already tell that, see, you can see it's like you can't even tell that's a table or something. Okay. This looks good from just this level here. Okay. So we're going to try it and see. We'll open it back up again and see how we did. So I kind of like this. It's kind of cool. I don't know why Midjourney gave him a staff. See the hands again. But that's something we can fix. Those people that are good at Photoshop, they can fix that kind of stuff. This is good. I like this. I'll probably use this one right off the top. This is not bad either. But again, you see, he looks like he's got some kind of staff. And the idea is that he's opening up a book. He's studying. Okay. Again, this makes the character looks too much like Inkai. So, Midjourney's not perfect. It's good. It really excels in portrait type of work, stills, I would say, but not the best when it comes to more action. If you want to add something in addition to the actual portrait, so I asked it to do a full body design character of a warrior god horror. So what I'm going to do is, before I do, and instead of re-rolling it, what I'm going to ask it to do is from scratch. Okay. I'm going to redo this from scratch and see what we get. So I'm going to do an imagine. Okay. And I'm going to cut out a lot of this, and you'll see this in a minute here as I put this in. Okay. So, let's do this. We're gonna put the prompt in. The image in first. So I want Midjourney to know that the image is what I want most importantly. Okay. Then I want this guy studying in an ancient library with his face in a book. Okay. So I'm telling it, take that image that I gave you with this action, and then I'm gonna say, okay, once you do that, Since everything's going to be new and I'm going to generate here, keep the stylization, go for broke, keep the width of the portrait level. So these are the only commands I'm going to tell it. Okay. All right. Because the image already has, for example, a person who's in full body. It's a full character design image. He's a warrior guy, looks like horse, and this person has African American. All that is baked into the image, so I don't have to tell it all of this. Okay. What I need to tell it is that he's studying. This image is studying in an ancient library with his face in a book. Okay. Or I could probably tell it. I probably better not tell it face in a book. It might literally put the person's face in a book. So let's just see what it does here. Okay. And this is not bad. I think what we're also going to do, I think I said I liked one better. So I think I said I like this too. So we're going to upscale too. So in other words, we're going to zero in on this one image here. Okay. And we're going to tell Midjourney, just produce this image. So out of these 4 that you gave us, okay, we've decided that we're selecting this one, and it goes this way: 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so the first 2 images are 1 and 2. The bottom 2 images are 3 and 4. So what you're doing is telling it to upscale which one of these images. So in this case, we're going to upscale 2. So that's 2 here. Okay, and since I like 2. Out of the images that were produced, I'm going to make a variation just of 2. Okay, so that's what the V means. Make a variation just of image 2. Okay, so I'm going to tell it to do that as well. Now it's going to give me the pop-up box and say, well, what else do you want to vary? Okay, so I'm going to leave it just the way it is. Okay, and in fact, I'm just going to cut out all the descriptive stuff and just put in the action, because again, all that's baked in. And I'm going to see what it gives, because it already has some stuff that's already in there. Okay, so all right, we'll keep that and we'll go and see what it does. Okay, so now as you can see, it's pulling up these images. Okay, so all right. So this is the one that I asked it to do from scratch. Okay, now this is actually pretty good. So I like this. This is actually a better image to me. I really like this one. That's a better image. I like this one. That's a better image. I like that. That's a better image. All of these are more in line with the original look and feel of what I was going for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably upscale all of these. Okay, and this one, each one has something that I like about it, but we'll just go ahead and we'll upscale these, and then we'll see. Sometimes you just got to start from scratch with Midjourney. Sometimes you give it like too much information. So I've told it to do all of these. And so now I've got all of these things running in the background. Okay. So, yeah, okay. So these are now the images that I told it to make a variation of. Okay. If you remember, I said down here V2. For this original here, I said make variations of this, and so it's completed that task. Midjourney's completed that task. Say, okay, I've given you 4 more variations of that one still, that one portrait image. So I'm going to open that up, blow that up. Okay, not bad. Again, notice the hands. Okay, again, not bad again. Midjourney just has a problem with hands. He looks a little bit too evil. That's not the look we're going for. And I don't like this look either. I like the first 2 looks better. So, the question becomes is how much do those images, this is what I meant about exact, how much do those images look like this character here? Because in the end, that's what it's about. It's about how much. So this character has like dreads and things like that. At least it looks like dreads. Okay, and so I think the reader can forgive when the armor's a little different and things like that. It can probably, and your mind will actually fill in certain things, but when if the face is dramatically different, then that's an issue. So this is a darker skinned gentleman, and like he doesn't, in my mind, really look like this. Okay, the nose probably, this, we might be able to get away with. See, now the dreads are more finer, so same thing here, but this guy looks a little bit too evil to me. so that's what you're dealing with when you try to make something in Midjourney. So we're going to look at some of the other images. Okay, so I asked Midjourney earlier to zero in on that one image, I believe it's image 2, and I just said upscale it. Okay, so now it did that. So let's just look at that image in particular, and now it's zoomed in, it's clarified things some. Okay, again, does this guy look like him? And I think he looks, pretty close. Definitely got the nose. I think the skin tone is kind of there. The dreads are maybe there a little bit more. Again, those individuals. Now, keep in mind, I have no type of graphic artist skill. I'm like typically definitely a novice. I might work in a program like Canva. I might be able to put some little stuff together, but I'm not going to be able to put this together. Not on my own. I just don't have that skill, that acumen to do that. So I'm using this tool to help bring to light the visuals that I have in my head. So I can visualize it in my head, but Midjourney's been the first opportunity that I have had to, on my own, bring that vision to life. I don't need any really external help. Okay, so that's why I find it so powerful, because it's basically bringing out all these images and pictures that I have in my head. I'm able to bring them out in Midjourney. So this might not be perfect, but it does represent the image that I'm trying to get at. Okay, the problem is not so much the image in and of itself. The problem is the consistency of the image as you move throughout the comic book and trying to keep the consistency. That's the issue. When that is resolved, you're talking about a serious tool in terms of being able to produce something, in my opinion, as relates to commercial viability. All right, so looking at those other images that came out. Remember, we started from scratch, so we did a shorter prompt, and that's what's called when you do something in Midjourney. It's called making a prompt. So I don't consider myself an artist because I'm not the one that's actually drawing this image. What I consider myself skilled in terms of prompt craft. In other words, I am getting skilled at communicating to Midjourney in a language that it understands to produce the image that I'm looking for. Okay. And the more you become skilled in prompt craft, the more you become skilled in how to communicate to Midjourney, the more powerful the images are that you're going to generate. That's really what it boils down to. So that's where the skill comes in. So let's blow this up and see what's going on here. Looks like they tried to draw some glasses almost, because I don't know what this is here. Now again, I could go into Photoshop and probably study and get that out of here. I'm pretty sure, I'm absolutely positive I can. But this is an example of what I mean. So Midjourney will throw, I'll call them artifacts, different things in there, and you don't know where it's coming from, but the system is throwing that in there. Okay, and so I actually like this image. I think this is a pretty cool looking image. I think I could get away with that, and then maybe in post I could just kind of delete this. Since this is all black, I probably could just erase that all entirely, and get these kind of things out of there. So, but I like it. So we're going to keep this image for right now. Okay. And I'm saving it to my files where I have my images. And again, maybe what I'll do is I'll go into Photoshop and I will go ahead and kind of get rid of that those fine lines. Okay, and then what I do, because if you notice the hand again, just blow it up. See how that's, so you don't know if Midjourney was trying to draw maybe like a pen here or something like that. You're not quite sure, you know, like the person thumbing a pen in his hand. But the bottom line, you can easily tell that the hand is messed up. So what do I do to address that? What I would do is when I put Hesphus in here, okay, I'll just simply cover up his hand. So I'll literally move this box to like right here, okay? Or I will put some other type of text or something in there to cover the hand up. So that's my quick and dirty way of addressing that kind of issue. So going back, okay, so I've already saved this. We're gonna go down some more. Okay, here was another great image. All the individual images were good. So let's blow this up. I like this. You know, he's clearly holding some type of book, some kind of paper he's reading. And this is what I mean about, you know, version 4.5 or version 4. So I just took the image. I used the image as a jump start for Midjourney. So Midjourney looks at that image and says, okay, plus my prompt, and it creates that image, that action in the style that's kind of consistent with that original image. The images was kind of driving how things should look. So I like this also too. You know, it's like without the armor and all that kind of stuff on. Yeah, you know, why not? So we'll save this image as well. And this actually is an image that I don't have to really alter. You know, I could just place it in there now. And I think that would be really cool. So I'm going to rate these images, and I'll talk about why I'm rating them. But it allows me to, rating does two things. Number one, if I rate enough images, Midjourney the Midjourney will give me extra fast hours. It will give me one additional fast hour for every X number of images that I rate, whether they are my own or whether they're someone else's. So I always rate my images. Second reason I rate them, because it's easier to find them on the quote-unquote file system within Midjourney on Midjourney's web. Okay, so there's a couple ways to organize files. I'm not going to go over that in this video, maybe in another video. This version of this video of this I really don't like. It's pretty, it's nice, but it's not consistent looking. I think it's too Roman Greco here. Okay, I think it's just too Roman Greco looking, and the beard and things like that. So we won't be using that image. I'm still going to rate it. Okay, because I'm training. Rating also trains the system. It gives it an idea of what you like and what you should produce. Okay, so I'm not going to tell it that it's horrible. It's just not what I'm looking for. Okay, again, here's another image. For some reason, this reminds me of Henry Cavill. I don't know why, like a black Henry Cavill. But anyway, looking at the image here, that's a great image. You know, that's a sharp looking image. He's got the book. The hands are covered. You barely see the hands. I don't think there's any post-op, listen to me. Anything from a post editing standpoint I need to do. You know, this is definitely a contender. I don't know if it's actually better than that second image that I created, but I like it nonetheless. And so we're going to save that. Okay. All right. So I've got the images here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and replace this image, because the stuff that I've generated is definitely better than what I have here now. Okay, so there we go. All right, so I'm going to go down and see where the images are. I got to find them. So I'm using my desktop, my file explorer, and not the inbuilt system. For my eyes, I think the inbuilt system is a little bit too small, and you know, I think it's a little bit too low because of this generation and trying to generate the files. I think it's easier to use the existing file system, and you get to see more of the image. So you only see like a couple here. I think it's bigger. I can scroll through it faster, and then once I find what I'm looking for, I can just add that image into what I'm looking for. So let me do that real quick. Find that image, and let's see. Alrighty. As you can see, I got quite a few images here, but we're getting up there. So I'm not quite sure where the system put the image, and those are the older ones. We should have a book, so hopefully I didn't pass it. Alrighty. And ooh, lots of images. Okay. Lots and lots and lots of it. There we go. I saw it. There it is. Okay, so I think what we're going to do, let's see, which one do we want to use? We want to use this one or this one? This is the one. I like this one, but again, I have to edit or I have to cover this up. But this is a sweet image, and you clearly see the book, and the idea is showing him studying. And then you got this image here, which is, you see the book not as much, and there's less editing to do. So for right now, I think I might just you know, heck, I might just leave this in here. We'll see. So I'm gonna put this here. I'm going to replace the image, which it already did. Okay, boom, there it is. Okay, so that's one done, and that's how you do it. So now, see how cartoonish this image is in comparison to this? This looks a lot more consistent looking with this style. Okay, which is what we want. We want to try to create a consistent style throughout the course of the book. And so I will probably even try to go back and alter this image too, so that it's not as computer animated looking and more photorealistic. But this is what the look that I'm going for here. And so this look really doesn't have that. There are some places in the book where there's definitely more comic-y looking. So here's an example of that. But that's on purpose. That's on purpose. So I might even go back and change this so that it's photorealistic, because that's the look overall that I was going with in the book. So there's a combination of photorealism and actual, I don't know if the word is animation or comic-y. So you see that, like, for example, here, this is photorealistic, but you know, I can probably improve that. So that's where I'm at in terms of stage 2 or draft 2 of the books. So here's an example of another image that I'm going to go back and make a little bit more photorealistic and reflective of the actual look of the characters. And so so that's what I'm doing. So here's an example where I purposely have used more cartoonish or more comic book looking style temporarily, because he's translating like his childhood. Okay, so that's kind of where, from just an artistic standpoint, I like how it came out. I think it merges well, but that's just me. So I'm gonna save this so I don't lose my work. And that is basically, you know, my little tutorial today. I hope you find that this has been helpful for you, and that it will help you in your endeavors, in your creative endeavors. All right, have a good one. Take care.